flawlesstracks.net. Flawlesstracks.net. Flawlesstracks.net.
All right, y'all should be able to hear me. Let me move that out the way. Move that out the way. All right. Y'all should be able to hear your boy. Let's see. Ooh, oh, don't do that. There we go. Make sure. Yeah. Yeah, we're fine. All right. What's good, y'all? Good, Yasha Rala. Now back for another live show, Spoken Genius. You know what I mean? It's your boy Ghetto Genius, of course. And you know, happy New Year to all the pagan bastards out there. Let me move this out the way. All right. So today, it's the new. Well, actually, it's not the new year, but whatever. Uh, glorious Sunday, I guess, quote unquote Sunday or whatever. Not the Lord's Day, but yeah. Other than that, I actually wanted to touch on something which would be a kind of like a setup, a preview to what's coming on my boy TKP's channel in about 2 weeks. Should be Friday, January the 13th. So, subscribe to his channel, The Kingdom Pill. Might put a plug at the end of this stream. So, keep an eye out for that. Really you should be subscribed already because he come with the drops, you know what I mean? But yeah, this would be a setup more so for his channel in a lot of ways, but I decided to get not only a setup but a continuation of what's already been discussed on his channel. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hop into it, but real quick I just want to read one precept real quick before we rock. Give me 1 second. Share the screen. Hopefully this thing don't overheat. Don't overheat on your boy. Anyway, window. This should be up. How come it's not up? Okay, there we go. Oh, that's why. Whatever. Real quick. Boom. Okay, let me slice this down. Give me 1 second. Thing pop up. You know what I mean? Second Ezra's. It's actually the thumbnail, by the way, just to let you know. But we're going to actually look at it, specifically for ourselves. Second Ezra's, chapter 8, verse 27. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. I mean, that one is really self-explanatory. I mean, 2023, for those that don't know, that means that equals up to the number 7 for completion. So, who knows what that means in this from an esoteric perspective when it comes to the elite this year. Who knows if that means the completion of the great work? I'm not necessarily going for that, but you never know. But it could just mean the completion of the promotion of the great work. We'll see what happens with that. But I also want to get real quick. Also want to get Habakkuk. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. What verse is that? Should be like verse. We'll just deal with that. Habakkuk chapter 2, starting at verse 5. Indeed, because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, and he does not stay at home, because he enlarges his desire as hell, or the grave, or Sheol. Hell on earth, but whatever. He is like death and cannot be satisfied. He gathers to himself all nations and heaps up for himself all peoples. Will not all take up a proverb against him and a taunting riddle against him and say, woe to him who increases what is not his? How long? And to him who loads himself with many pledges? will not your creditors rise up suddenly? Will they not awaken who oppress you? And you will become their booty, because you have plundered many nations. All the remnant of the people shall plunder you because of men's blood and the violence of the land and the city of all who dwelt in it. Woe to him who covets evil gain for his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of disaster. So I'm just going to stop right there. And I want to go to real quick. Just look at the verse. Pledges in other translations just means thick clay. Let's see what we got here. See what we got. Come on. Oh wait, well, I'm looking at it the wrong way. Reverse. Here we go. Pledges, or thick clay. What does that mean? Weight of pledges, heavy debts. The word there would be atit, something like that. Right? Something pledged, collectively pawned goods. Thick clay, like a false edom. Okay? Heavy debts. Now keep in mind what that says there, because let's stop sharing this. We're going to get into it, so to speak, but we're going to talk about more so the wicked inventions first. So I want to get to that. I want to touch on that first. Oh, sorry. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. Touch on the wicked inventions first. Edge tab. Boom, boom. Share. Okay, so. All right, so this is a video that I came across probably a while back, but I didn't really have a use for it until now. So, the channel TEDx Talks, all them liberal fucks on that channel, they just spew nonsense out of their mouth. But, you're going to see a very unsurprising character give this little speech about wicked inventions. So, keep in mind that this is TEDx Talks once again. So, there should be no surprise about what's about to come out of her mouth. But, we're going to get into it, and, I'll chime in every here and there. TEDx Harlem. Stop it. Look at this shit.
My name is Yvette Schmitter. Some call me a strategist, some call me a tech leader, but I'm really a futurist. I'm going to share with you my thoughts.
A futurist? What the man? Come on, bruh. A futurist? Stop it. Is that even a word? Hold on. Let me look this up. This might be a word, but what the fuck? I would assume it just means somebody that's optimistic about the fucking future, but whatever. Futurist. Hold on. Future. Why did I do it like that? Futurist. A person who studies the future and makes predictions about it based on current trends relating to the vision of the. She ain't no damn prophet. Man, they try to act like Hebrew. Man, stop it. Anyway.
Thoughts about the metaverse and all the places we can go, because I'm truly excited about the possibilities that lie within the metaverse, because things are only impossible until they are not.
I bet you are excited about it, bitch.
The next frontier of the internet has been estimated to be well north of $1 trillion in annual revenue. $1 trillion. That's a lot of opportunity for those who want to take that next bet. Our technological evolution has been amazing, as well as drastic. Think back to the first mobile phones. They weighed 2.5 pounds. They were 9 inches tall. They had this amazing, wait for it, battery life of 35 minutes. And all that could be yours for the bargain basement price of $3,995. Well, today, our mobile phones are as light as a feather. They can fit in your pocket, small as the pocketbooks. They have a battery life ranging of about 19 hours for an average price of $553 US. Well, those same type of technological leaps and bounds have happened with our internet as well. Think back to the very first Web 1.0. You know, horrendous end user experience, read-only static pages that took forever to load, compared to where we are today with Web 2.0. Lightning fast searches, great end user experience, mostly read-write dynamic content. But to get to those economies of scale, everything had to be centralized, and a few not to be named social media platforms have monopolized that structure and turned us into products with very little control over our own data.
Well, I mean, it's only going to get worse from here. But I'm pretty sure you're about to give a bullshit marketing scheme to try to convince us that it's not. So go ahead.
So if we make that next turn of the evolutionary wheel of the internet, it brings us to Web 3.0. Scaled, portable personal technology that's secure and decentralized. It literally puts the keys of control of data use and interaction in the hands of the users. It enables creators and their communities to build independent digital ecosystems. So the decentralization, how is that enabled? Through blockchain. The blockchain protocol, which is secure, makes it nearly impossible to change, hack, or steal, has an ability to enable people to share money and information securely over the internet.
Cap. Big cap.
So the decentralization, or DeFi, creates this peer-to-peer financial services between two parties and literally removes the control that traditional banks and financial institutions have over money. So
Allegedly.
in the metaverse, you can create, sell, and market with no hidden fees. So think about it. The only transaction fee is when you move crypto from one wallet to the next. So
Oh, okay, she said hidden fees. I was about to get her ass, but I'll leave that alone.
the metaverse has been on the tip of everyone's tongue recently, and it's not a new term. It's been around since the 1990s when it popped up in a book written by Neil Stephenson called Snow Crash. In this book, he described an elaborate virtual reality called the metaverse. Well, I think Neil did a great job. Totally awesome. He has a wonderful imagination, but I think we can go bigger and better. And I'm not alone in that thinking. Grayscale has reported that there's an opportunity to generate over $1 trillion annual in the metaverse. So what is it? What is the metaverse? Think of the
A bunch of bullshit.
metaverse as providing a secure, common, decentralized, distributed framework that allows people to exchange money, share data and information, and reuse it across application, community, and enterprise boundaries. It literally
Cap. Big cap once again.
gives us control of our own data. No more do we have to let other people tell us how we can interact with one another, as well as control of our own data. So
Cap. I mean, seriously. Oh, how many times does the so-called black woman, the so-called liberal black woman, have to cap in one goddamn video? I mean, seriously.
this decentralization that we so pray for today in Web 2.0 is ushered in Web 3.0. Think of it this way. In Web 2.0 world, the most powerful person in the world is not the president of the United States. It's the person who can ban the president of the United States from their social media platform. When I invite you to think about the metaverse, think of it at its core as being a feature-rich, bidirectional semantic web. Okay, so what does that mean? Say we wanted to go out to dinner. to go to a Thai food restaurant, but first we wanted to see.
By the way, YouTube, fair use. Fair use, fair use. Damn it.
A sci-fi movie. Today, in Web 2.0, we do a search on a movie theater, read all the summaries and the reviews, and do the same thing for a Thai restaurant. Make our selections, and then head out the door. Tasks like this become super easy and fast in Web 3.0 because you would open up your Web 3.0 browser, enter in a complex sentence or two, and let the web do all the work. It'll do all the analysis, all the research, and present you with results so you can go on your way. Now, I think that's great. I think increased productivity to get out the door faster, to shop and to eat or whatever is wonderful, but that's not the type of opportunity I'm talking about in the metaverse.
I hope not, because we already have that now. It's called goddamn Yelp reviews, Google reviews. You can basically figure out the performance of anywhere you want to go based off of that. You don't need Web 3.0 or 3.0. However the fuck she said the shit. You don't need Web 3.0 to get all that. Like that's not necessary. So I hope that's not what you're trying to get at, but it's still gonna be bullshit no matter how you try to explain this shit. But you see they got the so-called black woman once again up here explaining this shit. They got Eve trying to explain this satanic system.
The type of opportunity that the metaverse enables for us, it democratizes access to societal key things like healthcare, business, job opportunities, and education. The pandemic has had unimaginable impact on everyone's life, everyone's. But it's also ripped off the covers to expose the fragility and dysfunction of our healthcare system. A healthcare system.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Where today still 70% use fax machines to move patient records around. A healthcare system that does have electronic and medical health records, but they've been built to standardize billing and coding and not provide us that interoperability we so desperately need. A healthcare system that is riddled with information silos, that's turned our hospitals into hubs of all things health, filled with sick, frustrated people sitting in overcrowded emergency rooms, being treated by emotionally and physically exhausted clinicians. And if you get admitted, you have a 1 in 20 chance of picking up a hospital-borne infection. But what if the metaverse could digitally transform our healthcare system to reduce the burden on our hospitals and turn them into wellness centers focused on disease prevention? What if the metaverse could bring prescriptive guidance to the masses, preventative care to the masses through portable sensors and devices where they can see their data and make healthcare decisions based on their data, where clinicians will still have access to monitor remotely and securely? The metaverse mobilizes clinical workflows. Think about this. What about being able to receive diagnostic treatment and monitoring from where you are? No more holding an Uber, catching a cab, riding a bus. No more having to go to a physical brick and mortar to get routine treatment and care. You can get it from where you are, from the comfort of your own home. The metaverse removes all the physical barriers related to learning and receiving healthcare, to receive treatment by bringing everyone virtually together. The metaverse gives us the keys to disrupt and revolutionize the healthcare industry to increase health equity, improve health outcomes, decrease the workload on our hospital systems. So the focus is now wellness and disease prevention. Imagine. The metaverse also has an
I'm good on that bitch, but whatever.
Opportunity to redefine remote learning. Imagine being able to go to class, sit next to your best friend who literally sees you, a visual depiction of you. Let me go back. Education. The metaverse redefines how we view remote learning. Think about it this way. Say you are in class, you can sit next to your best friend who's poking you with their elbow, and they see you, a virtual representation of you, exactly how you look. Imagine that. Well, we're not that far off.
Yeah, but why is that needed? Like, what will be the point of that? Like, who cares? Like, why is that so important to have a virtual representation of you in class?
Epic Games released a program called MetaHuman Creator back in April of 2021, where you can literally create a digital version of yourself that looks exactly like you, and you can take it to any virtual environment that you like to. I think that's awesome. We're also not too far because Sandbox VR has created an immersive virtual reality where you can feel, touch, see, and interact physically in a virtual space. There's a company called Porto located in LA. They have a device, we'll say, that's a holoportation device where you can beam your 3D version of yourself into a virtual space thousands of miles away. No headset, no gear. Think about it. Think about being able to research the Milky Way by literally walking amongst the stars. This type of opportunity redefines remote learning and makes it able for everyone, no matter where you're located, if you can move or not, your disability, it doesn't matter. We can have an enriched experience. Imagine. The metaverse has created
No.
an inordinate amount of opportunity when it comes to business. We have an opportunity to create jobs, new businesses, and new ecosystems. Today, we have a short list of business tycoons. We'll say Elon Musk and Warren Buffett. Short list. But the opportunities within the metaverse create unlimited amounts of opportunity for thousands or hundreds of thousands of people to become business tycoons. For
That's still nowhere near close to everybody on the planet, but whatever.
example, Nike purchased a virtual shoe company called RTFKT. They made 600 shoes and sold it for $3 million without manufacturing one single sneaker. Not a one. There's also an environment, an online environment where you can buy parcels within the metaverse called Decentraland, where they sold $2.4 million of parcels to tokens.com, where tokens.com wants to create their own little Fifth Avenue to be a landlord to lease the space to other buyers. So think about
I wonder if they're gonna put a quote unquote Negro land there as well. Hey, that's probably where they're building Wakanda at. Oh shit.
about it. If there's a gap, you can fill it and become the next Warren Buffett. We have an amazing opportunity to be able to significantly improve the social aspects of well-being for life. Job security, healthcare, education, environment sustainability. We have that opportunity through the metaverse. So the question is for you is, what are you willing to build in the metaverse? How are
Not a goddamn thing.
you willing to boldly go beyond and build a world that doesn't exist yet, where everyone is seen, heard, valued, and can live long and prosper? I'm really excited about the possibilities because it's only impossible until it is not.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh. No way, bitch. Get your ugly ass on somewhere. No, ma'am. I don't know where the fuck. I don't know where the fuck they got this bitch from, but this is ridiculous. Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Uh, Okay, there we go. All right. Matthew 24, verse 24. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show you great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you therefore. I told you beforehand. You see what she was doing there? Promising you all these great things. Oh, we'll be able to fix the healthcare system with this metaverse and the digital system and blah blah blah. Man, that ain't gonna achieve none of that shit. She did not mention anything about, just from a logical sense, glitches and technical difficulties, things of that nature. That has always been the issue with with all these technological advances that they've created over the past decades. And so she ain't mentioning none of those basic things. But you know what? Whatever. As it says in the thumbnail of the video, 2 Ezra 8:27, do not regard the wicked inventions, but keep thy testimonies through afflictions. You're gonna have to separate yourself from these things, man, in order to survive, in order to receive favor from the Most High. It's just the bottom line of it. All this nonsense about, oh well, uh, you know, the digital system, the metaverse is gonna fix healthcare and all this. Man, ain't fixing the goddamn thing. It's a big fucking joke. But you know what? We're gonna get to the next video. Let's see what we got. I believe I did this video on Instagram. Let's see. Oh, I didn't share the screen. I'm thinking this live will probably be much faster because I just want to go over some stuff, kind of continue the lessons that's been done on TKP's channel once again. So, I don't think this one is going to be as long as the other lives, but we'll see. I just don't want to go into too much because I want to save a lot of that for that stream coming, I believe, January 13th. Anyway, where's it at? Is that it? No, that's not it. Might be up here. Hold on, give me 1 second. 1 second. I thought it was there. I could have sworn I added it. Or maybe I went right past it and being stupid. Oh yeah, I did. There we go. Okay.
You can flip houses in a day
Come on, ad.
and make just as much money as those rehabbers you see on TV without.
By now, I'm sure you have.
Hold on. Go back. All right, so as you can see, the liberal so-called black woman just told a bunch of bullshit. But we're gonna let this I don't know if she's so-called Caucasian, I don't know, but let this so-called Caucasian allegedly let this so-called Caucasian woman explain what's really about to go down, and what it if you go on the World Economic Forum website, singularity.net, they all promote the same thing. But let's see what she's about to say about what the real truth is about the technological reset. She's not going to necessarily go into the metaverse, but all that stuff ties in together when you understand what singularity and the digital beast system is all about, which we're going to get into more so inflation here, things of that nature. So we'll touch on that in these next two videos that's coming up, and I'll chime in here and there. Let's get it. Ooh, not that. Why did I do that? Anyway, sorry about that. Oh, come on, hurry up.
By now, I'm sure you have heard some of these taglines. The Fourth Industrial Revolution, the Great Reset.
Okay.
And the Great Narrative. And of course, you will own nothing and be happy. And I'm sure you've seen the face of this guy being praised as a visionary who will guide our world into a prosperous future.
That damn demon. Damn demon right there.
What does that really mean? And what is the World Economic Forum's plan for the world in 2030? Will it be a world of increased inclusion, equity, and freedom for all?
Oh, fuck no, baby.
Or as many people fear, will it be exactly the opposite? I'm not here to answer that question, but what I would like to do is propose a hypothetical future scenario. A scenario that the WEF is promoting and the type of world we could be living in by 2030. A world where your property, your identity, your money could be owned and controlled by your government. At the end of the video, I do want you to make up your own mind whether you think the WEF is a force for good on the planet or if we should be having some concerns and if we should be...
Well, the scriptures already answered that question, so... But, you know, Isaiah 34:16, seek ye out the book of the Lord.
Asking some questions. So let's get into it, shall we? But before we do have an amazing newsletter that people rave about, 60,000 people and counting. So if you want to join a fellow that we live on. Secondly, Klaus Schwab promoting around the now famous event called the Great Reset. Before I start though, I just want you to keep two things in mind. Number one, the World Economic Forum and the leader, Klaus Schwab, haven't been elected by anyone. Yet despite this fact, they are trying to influence politics all around the world in order to transform the planet that we live on. Secondly,
now think about that. Ain't been elected by the masses at all. But yet they have so much clout over politics. So who could have selected these motherfuckers? Real interesting. Once again, Ephesians 6:12, we do not fight against flesh and blood, but we fight against principalities, powers in secret places. Come on, man. It's ridiculous.
The resources that I'm sharing in this video are coming from verifiable sources, many of which are directly from the WEF's website. If you want to confirm any of the information, there is more info in the description. So let us discuss the three hypothetical pillars and how it might affect our lives. Pillar 1, surveillance. The first pillar in the 2030 agenda is the possibility of total surveillance of every single one of us. And the way the WEF could achieve this is by us requiring a new form of identification. The World Economic Forum suggests that every single person on the planet will receive a new form of digital ID, which they say would help promote a world of inclusion where everyone has more access to basic services. But they also suggest this ID could be linked to absolutely everything in your life. It could be required to book plane and train tickets and track where it is you're going. This digital ID would be needed to access social media, the internet, bank accounts, and even a requirement in order to spend your money. And without your ID...
You hear that? I.e. what? The metaverse. Internet, social media, things of that nature. I.e. what? The metaverse. So, once again, the goofy bitch from TEDx Harlem, or where the fuck, she had no idea what the hell she might have, well, you know what, never mind. She didn't know what the hell she was talking about. Let's just go there. Fuck it.
ID, it's possible you may not be able to buy anything at all.
Nope.
And who would control your digital ID and the data it contains? Well, of course, your government would.
Now, keep in mind, the lady in the TEDx talk, her stupid ass said it's going to be decentralized. That's real interesting. Oh, well.
Short, absolutely every action you take in your modern life could be tracked by this new type of personal ID. What your online habits are, where you go, what you buy online, what you say online, and so much more. And if you think this kind of a system is a little bit worrying, well, you're not the only one that thinks this way. Just recently, Kenya's High Court ruled a digital ID system to be illegal in the country because they fear it could be abused by the government in order to violate a person's basic right to privacy. But the WEF doesn't agree. They think it's going to do more good than harm. But anyway, where would you be carrying this new form of ID? Well, according to the WEF, you could be carrying it inside your body. In his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, Schwab talked heavily about how RFID chips could be used to track goods and packages around the world, enabling our
real chippy. Ooh, this shit getting real chippy.
Economy to become significantly more efficient. But in referencing the same technology, he also said this: in the near future, similar monitoring systems will also be applied to the movement and tracking of people. He also says that the fourth industrial revolution will lead to a fusion of our physical, our digital, and our biological identities. Echoing this,
i.e. what? Transhumanism.
on the website, the WEF discusses a future where electronic implants could become a relatively normal part of human life. Lastly, I want to mention something I've spoken about on this channel before, which is in regards to the WEF's potential forecast for a future of surveillance, which comes from an article published on Forbes, which is written by a WEF contributor. The article is titled, "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better." And the line I want to highlight is as follows: once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy, nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know somewhere everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. To be clear, this article was written by Ida Auken, who is a Danish politician and also a member of the WEF, writing as a contributor for the World Economic Forum. So this is pillar number 1, surveillance. And later on, I'm going to be talking about how the world of surveillance ties in with pillar 3. But for now, let's talk about the second pillar, which is finance. Pillar 2, finance. The next pillar of the Great Reset agenda could be around finance, and more specifically, putting more control of money and assets in the hands of the government. So you know the line...
Now, wait a minute. I could have sworn that the bitch on the TEDx talk clearly told us that blockchain makes everything decentralized.
You will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, this is the pillar where this could be playing out. In multiple articles on their own website and elsewhere, the WEF predicts a world where people will no longer own most of the things they use in life. Instead, through a sharing economy, items like clothing and cooking equipment will be owned by your government and delivered to you when you need them. But according to a WEF member, sometimes you won't even need to decide what you need, because an algorithm that knows your taste better than you do could make these choices for you instead. And your home? Well, soon that could be owned by the government as well, but you won't have to pay rent because someone else will be using your space when you're not there.
Now, I know y'all would think that's absolutely nuts, but keep in mind, they're already mentally conditioning people to do these things. I would say mentally conditioning people to accept this type of stuff. How are they doing that? I know there's like certain apps out there where people can basically rent out your like either a room or like your home and act like as a, if I'm not mistaken, like a home office for like a couple of hours. So that's basically what she's like referencing, but on a whole nother level. And then there's, that's basically what she's trying to reference, but it's going to be on a whole nother level. Like they're just going to be able to basically turn your place into a public housing facility whenever they want to, because everything that you have is going to be in the ownership of the government. So you can be, in a lot of ways, you can be kicked out at any moment's notice. So, that's basically what she's talking about.
Short, everything that you own now could soon hypothetically be owned by your government. But the most important tool, asset that you have, which we use every single day to exchange value, which is money, seems that the WEF might have a plan for that as well. The WEF talks heavily about how cash in the modern world is risky and how it should be replaced by digital money. And even though statistics show that many countries around the world would prefer to use cash over electronic forms of money, the WEF believes these people just don't know what's good for them. Instead, they believe we should all be switching over to electronic payment systems as it's the way of the future. So, what could replace a world where we no longer have any kind of physical money? Well, the next step would be to develop a secure digital currency that everybody can use. It's kind of like crypto, except the future digital currency proposed wouldn't be decentralized. It would be completely controlled by your government. And this is called the central bank digital currency, or CBDC.
What I'm about to share with you makes me sick to my stomach. Every day, there are 3,000 property owners losing.
Yeah,
a CBDC would be fully trackable, traceable, and a secure form of currency that, like Bitcoin, lives on a blockchain. But it would be also fully centralized. It would be money controlled by those in power instead of being in the hands of the people. With a CBDC, your money would no longer be held in a bank account either. Instead, proposals suggest cutting out what they call the middleman, with your government becoming the bank that directly holds your money for you. Nations.
You hear that? Now, keep in mind, she said in the quote unquote metaverse, everything's going to be decentralized because the blockchain will allow you to be able to exchange money without the government's hands or a singular entity's hands having his hands in on the transaction. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that, bitch. It did it again. Why is it doing that? Come on now. Anyway.
Like United States, Brazil, China, Canada, Germany, Austria, and Australia are already at certain stages of research or developing a CBDC, meaning we may be only a couple of years away from this becoming a reality. But potentially, most worrying of all, a CBDC would also be fully programmable, meaning your government could place whatever rules they wanted on your money, potentially allowing you to only spend your money on the items that they deem appropriate, or even worse, cutting off your access to your money altogether. In short, it would become the perfect tool in order to track and control your money, the very thing that we need in order to survive in today's world. If you want to learn more, I've recently made a video about CBDCs. Feel free to watch that one after you watch this one. Now, let's move on to pillar 3. Pillar 3, scoring. Finally, the last part of the WEF's hypothetical plan for 2030 is scoring, basically ranking human beings against each other based on almost every single action that they take. And this is called the social credit system. Simply.
That's going to be one of the bigger things about the B system. That's how, we'll read Revelation 13 after this. Was 11 through 18. We'll read that after this, and it'll tie in literally everything that she's saying.
Put, it is judging how good or bad of a citizen you are based on almost every single thing that you do in your day-to-day life, rewarding people who are doing things that the government likes and punishing people that do the opposite. Sounds depressing? Well, there is already one place on earth that has implemented this system.
China.
Today, China has
one of the two horns.
Already the world's most restrictive social credit system. It's a system where citizens are ranked based on almost everything they do in day-to-day life, from how long they play video games to how well they drive, what their shopping habits are, and whether they buy too many luxury items, and especially what they say online, as well as who they associate with. If a person's score gets too low, they can lose access to things in life that many of us would argue are human rights. Things like a passport, bank loans, or access to putting their children in a good school. And if your score gets low enough, there are even reports the governments can come and take your dog away. Only a few years ago, China was already banning upwards of 20 million people a year from buying a plane or train ticket because their social credit score was too low. And guess who is a big fan of China's system and the country's current leader? You guessed it, this guy.
Yep, this damn demon right here. No shit. Look how everything just comes all back around.
Klaus Schwab recently gave China's president a glowing introduction at World Economic Forum event and praised Xi's leadership as well as his nation's economic achievements. Don't like the idea of a credit score? Well, unfortunately, they soon could be coming to a country near you. The first social credit system in Europe is set to begin rolling out in Italy later this year, and the Australian city of Darwin has also proposed one as well. A social credit system like this would neatly slot in with the surveillance pillar, and it would make the scoring of every individual very easy, because if we all have digital IDs, we could easily be scored on our every action. Now, I personally believe that the very idea of a social credit system is disgusting. Pinning humans against each other and ranking them based on their behavior? No, thank you. But whether you feel as strongly about this issue as I do or not, there is one thing that really can't be argued with, that a system like this would eventually mean that the government would control the people and how they live. It would mean that people would have to act the way that the government would want them to act. And those that don't toe the line, they would lose their rights and privileges. Financial privileges, economic privileges, and basic human freedoms. To me, this sounds like the perfect way of controlling a population and removing everybody's individual free will. But hey, maybe that's just me. I'd love to know your thoughts. The conclusion. In the end, these three hypothetical pillars seem to be pointing to one eventuality: absolute control. The control of people by tracking their every move. The control of a society by locking down its access to money and the things they need to survive. And the control of an individual's behavior and choices with a restrictive social credit system. And to me, it does seem like the WEF is promoting things that could make this kind of a system a reality. As I said at the start of this video, I really want you to make up your own mind about what you believe is going on. But as you do, just remember this. The WEF is an organization that none of us have elected. An organization that is funded by some of the richest and most powerful companies that have ever existed. It's an organization that is installing its young global leaders in political cabinets all around the world to shape the laws of our nations. And seemingly...
Sending in the agents. Allegedly.
It's an organization that thinks it knows better than we do about the individual choices we should all be making. Personally, I want to live in a world where I get to make my own choices, that I get to decide what I want to do and what I enjoy, and not having some government or algorithm deciding this for me, where I get to say what I want, where I get to associate with who I want without the fear of having some imaginary brownie points taken away from me, and where my financial future is still in my own hands, so I can decide if I want to buy or own things that bring me joy. I could be wrong, but it seems that the WEF doesn't want this for us. So do tell me again, who elected these people in order for them to dictate the kind of future that we are going to be potentially living in? Not me. And I guarantee not you either. So let me know your thoughts below and stay tuned for more on this topic very soon.
Well, you know what? It's not about us. It's about the scriptures, man. Let's let the scriptures answer this question. Real quick. Let me go back. Go back. Let's let the scriptures answer this question. Oh, come on. Come on, motherfucker. Okay, there we go. Boom. Revelation. We all know this one. Revelation 13, starting at verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming up from the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Oops, sorry about that. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. So the point there is verse verse 11 through 14 right now, right? We're gonna do those, right? We're gonna focus on those for this kind of segment, last two videos right now. He had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. For those that don't know, horns is a colloquialism for rulership or rulers per se. From my perspective, the two horns represent Russia and China. If you don't like, and it says spoke like a lamb, right? Like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. Russia is also condemned America, trying to say that America is from Satan, right? That's kind of like them being like a lamb, so to speak, quote unquote lamb, because the lamb was a colloquialism for Christ, right? So they're trying to be Christ-like by saying, "Oh, well, America is from Satan." Meanwhile, they're both nations are from Satan. That's why it spoke like a dragon, and he exercised all authority of the first beast, i.e., what the system itself. So it's going to exercise all of the ideologies and the things of that nature as the first beast did, i.e., the beast of the sea. Revelation 13, 1 through 10, right? It's going to do the same thing. Whose deadly wound was healed. How did he receive the deadly wound? Through destruction, through wars, things of that nature, which is detailed in Matthew 24, right? And he performs great signs. That's kind of, in a way, that's kind of what the lady in the TEDx talks was trying to like present in some ways, like through the metaverse, great signs are going to be performed. And it ties into the second video, right? Because while all these things are going on with the government and all their issues are going on, the average person is not going to be paying attention that will be alive at that time, because they're too busy they're too busy in the metaverse somewhere. They're too busy got the VR headset or whatever on, too busy buying up digital property, which is just fake property, with their money, and they're not paying attention to what's really real. They're not doing it anymore. And you see, was it verse 14? And he deceives those, as I just went into, who dwelt on the earth by those signs, i.e., what those digital signs, that digital beast system, was granted to do in the sight of the beast, letting those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast that was wounded by the sword and lived. We've already went over what the sword is, basically. The sword is basically the wars and destruction that will wound that deadly beast, but it is healed. How is it healed? Digitally. The last incarnation of this kingdom will be the healing of the fourth beast digitally. What is it? Daniel 2. Please start at verse 40. Let me just get it real quick. Daniel 2. Daniel. Sorry. Alright. This one's definitely gonna last that long. But yeah. Starting at verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, insomuch as iron breaks in pieces and shatters everything, and like iron that crushes, the kingdom will break in pieces and crush all the others. Whereas you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. Yet the strength of the iron shall be in it, just as you saw the iron mixed with ceramic clay. And the toes and the feet were partly of iron and partly of clay. So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly fragile. As you saw iron mixed with ceramic clay, They will mingle with the seed of men, but they will not adhere to one another, just as iron does not mix with clay. It's talking about this kingdom that we're in right now. There's a strong side of the kingdom, and there's a weak side of this rulership. So it all goes hand in hand. But there's a reason why I read Habakkuk before I went into any of these videos talking about thick clay and things of that nature. There's a reason why I went into that first, because we're about to get into that right now. Real quick. About to get into that. Give me 1 second. Should be down here. It should be right here. There we are.
Capitalize on the Bitcoin marketplace at a fraction of the cost, trading micro Bitcoin using NinjaTrader's professional.
Michael Barry.
All right. So I should be able to see that. Make sure we're good to go. Should be there. All right. Yeah. So y'all can see that. All right. Let's get it popping. She's about to explain the concept of inflation in some ways, which all ties in together. As I've called it on a TKP's channel, I called it satanic marketing for a reason. So let's get it.
Michael Barry is back, and apparently he's shorter than he's ever been before. But I'm not talking about his height. Instead, about his bets against the global financial market. Barry might be the most controversial investor on the planet, loved by many and hated by others. He's become known for wild predictions about the economy that some say are almost never correct, while others argue that he's almost always just a little early. Whatever the case, he's just made some big changes to his portfolio, which could give insights into what he believes is just around the corner. Okay. So this is another in a line of videos where we talk about Michael Barry and some of the things he's saying about the economy. And while he has many doubters, there's a few predictions that he's made in the last few years that have been fairly accurate. Now, before we talk about what he's saying now and what he's investing in, I first want to do a little bit of a recap to the present day and some of the controversy that he's been swept up in the last few years. Michael Barry was the key character depicted in the 2015 Hollywood blockbuster The Big Short, played by Christian Bale. It details how Barry accurately predicted the 2008 US housing collapse. He bet against the market when almost nobody else did, netting himself $100 million in the process. And since then, he's become a divisive figure in the world of finance, making wild financial predictions on Twitter that almost always go viral, only to sometimes delete his tweets just minutes later. And even though Barry and Twitter's new owner Elon have a somewhat rocky history, Barry recently praised Musk for bringing trust back to the platform, stating he would no longer delete his tweets after posting them. However, only hours after posting that tweet, Barry deleted his entire account off the site, only to reactivate it once again a few days later. So it's obvious why Barry's behavior has led him to become somewhat of a controversial.
So I guess he's a big hypocrite. Go figure.
Figure in the finance space. Yet despite this, there are still millions of people that are following his predictions, economic predictions. So this leads me now to what Barry is predicting for the future and what could come to pass in the next year or so. Over the past 2 years, Barry has been saying financial doom is coming for us. He was talking about serious inflation long before it hit, as well as suggesting that a recession was on its way, even before economists admitted we were in one. Now he's saying things will continue on this downward trend. In a recent tweet, one that's now obviously deleted, Barry boasted that we have no idea how short he is, suggesting he's betting heavily against the market in expectation of a crash. A crash he's been saying for a while may be one of the worst in history, or as he calls it, the mother of all crashes. None of this should come as a surprise to anybody that is up to date with Barry's predictions. Basically, in other words, it's more doom and gloom. In this video, though, I don't want to focus on the things that he's not buying and the things that he's betting against. I want to instead focus on the things that he is buying. So let's talk about that. This is what's called a 13F filing, It's a report that all institutional investment managers must file in the United States that publicly discloses what they've been buying and what they've been selling. Very recently, Barry's hedge fund disclosed its 13F filing for this year's third quarter, which gave us insights into what he's buying. On face value, it appears as if Barry is investing in a set of random companies, including 2 private prison operators as well as a telco company. But there's a trend that only a few are paying attention to. As of now, 60% of Barry's portfolio is made up of real asset companies. In the past, he was heavily invested in service companies, entities like Cigna and Meta, whereas now he's made a very obvious transition over to real assets. In other words, companies that have a lot of physical assets and infrastructure, as opposed to those that are mostly digital or online service providers. So why is Barry heavily investing in real assets right now? Well, it's probably got a lot to do with the financial enemy that we're talking a lot about lately, and that enemy is inflation. During times of inflation, cash is one of the worst things a person can own because as inflation rises, each dollar becomes devalued. And the longer you hold onto cash, the less valuable it becomes. This is something Barry has regularly tweeted about. He calls inflation a regressive tax, which is a perfect way to describe how inflation eats away at cash savings. Barry also highlights how, right now, inflation is causing the price of items like food to rise faster than they ever have before. So what does this have to do with Barry's new investments in real estate? Well, during times like these, money increasingly flows out of cash and into real assets, especially as the wealthy seek to protect their wealth from inflation. This tends to drive up the price of real assets at a higher rate than inflation, making real assets a much safer bet than savings in an account. But it is not just Barry that's moving into buying real assets right now. It is a trend that we have seen on the rise since inflation started to hit a year or two ago. The traditional 60-40 asset portfolio, what people like Barry are moving away from, has just had its worst year since the Great Depression, losing anywhere from 15 to 25%. Retail investors are even worse off, down around 30%. But according to some of the world's biggest investment banks, the rich are significantly pumping money into real assets, and according to UBS, have been doubling their investments into one asset in particular. That real asset is fine art, and it's something I've myself been investing in over the last year or so with Masterworks, the sponsor of today's video. Masterworks allows you to invest in high-end...
I don't want your Renaissance remodel crap. Don't nobody want that mess. Renaissance remodel BS. That's a whole nother issue for another day. All right, come on.
Okay, so now back to the video.
Thank you.
Regardless of whether you are a fan or not a fan of Michael Barry's prediction, I do think that there's something that we can learn from him here, and that is the overarching economic trends that have happened before when our world was in a similar situation to what it is in now. During times of economic crisis, the companies that suffer most are usually those that society doesn't need in order to function. For example, companies like Meta, Twitter, Amazon, Snap, and Microsoft may be extremely profitable most of the time and provide services that most of us want. However, they're not exactly services that society needs. As inflation and the economy gets worse, people's spending habits change, with less money being spent on non-essential services. This is why tech companies have been especially hammered over the last year or so, and has already started seeing mass layoffs with hundreds of thousands of employees being fired already. But no matter how bad the economy gets, there are services society will always need to continue to function. Things like energy, infrastructure, social services, and even prisons. This is likely why Barry's portfolio has changed so dramatically of late, because he believes that non-essential products and services will keep getting hit, likely resulting in companies connected to the basic functioning of society will become more valuable, or at the very least, hold their value. Obviously, this is a very simple explanation as to what Barry's thought process could be right now, and why tech companies are being hit so hard and losing so much value. But as a general rule of thumb, this does tend to happen whenever economies start to struggle. People tighten their expenses and less essential companies lose a lot of income. However, there seems to be a very important question that we should all be asking ourselves right now. How confident confident can we be that Barry is right? We all know Barry became famous for predicting one of the biggest crashes in modern history, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been wrong before. He was previously incorrect about several predictions relating to Tesla's stock price and has historically been pessimistic about Bitcoin, suggesting its price was unsustainable, only for it to then go on to reach its all-time high of $64,000.
Well, here's the problem with what you're saying about Bitcoin, right? Well, his synopsis about Bitcoin. I really don't care for the guy, but just to see Bitcoin. No, hold on. I just look it up on Cash App. But that he did make a point there. I mean, Bitcoin is nowhere near as high as it used to be. I mean, think about it. It was at 60,000. Now Bitcoin right now, as I'm looking at it on the Cash App, is 16,000. I mean, that's a huge drop. And that's a huge decrease from last year. I mean, seriously, it's dropped 64% since this time last year as I'm looking at it. Okay? So now it might be up 124% all time, but over the past year, it's dropped 64%. So clearly it's volatile, just like any stock is. So no, he was actually correct on that, and because it's based in it's not independent. No stock is independent because it's truly dependent on the currency to determine its value. So there is no such thing as Bitcoin being stable. That's just not true.
However, some argue he was just a little early in the case of his crypto prediction, just like he was
Yeah, you're just a little early. That's all. I mean, anybody could have guessed what he's talking about. It's just common sense. I mean, it's just clearly if the price of Bitcoin and stuff goes from 64,000 to now 16,000 in 1 year, then clearly it's volatile.
When he started talking about inflation a few years ago. Something Barry himself has touched on, saying he's just been habitually early. But no investor is ever right 100% of the time, especially when it comes to the specifics. But what Barry seems to be correct about is how money is moving into real assets and essential services. Recent figures suggest that Barry's actions mirror those of the wealthy right now, moving out of riskier stocks and funds and increasingly into more stable investments that will likely stand the test of time. And considering the unpredictable state of the global financial markets, this is a trend that many believe is likely to continue. Here's the thing. No one person is going to be right about everything all the time. However, there seems to be a certain way that money tends to move throughout history. And what we are seeing right now is the transition from more risky to more stable assets, the more unpredictable and risky the market gets. In short, regardless of how much you love or hate Michael Burry, I really don't think that you should trust one financial expert all the time, because they can never always be right. And instead,
That's true.
Look at the way that money has actually flowed at similar times that we're experiencing right now. But anyway, I still want to know what you think of Michael Burry's moves. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you enjoyed this video, you might also enjoy the previous video we did about Burry and his crash predictions. There is a link on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do.
Yeah, she's not bad at breaking stuff down when it comes to things like this. But I mean, I didn't want to spend too much time on this live. This is more so impromptu. But like I said, Habakkuk, the second chapter, the 5th verse to, I believe, the 8th verse as I've read it. 2nd Ezra 8 and 27. And of course, Revelation. Matthew 24, verse 24 and 25. They correlate with, and they all correlate together with Revelation 13, verses 11 through 14. Well, verses 11 through 18 mainly, and all together, but mainly verses 11 through 14. They all tie in together. But I want to read 2 more precepts before I get up out of here. Just keep this one quick. We didn't even get to an hour and a half. Ooh, your boy really fishing today. I'll probably play some music at the end. Probably play the same track at the end, you know what I mean? Just to close out the show. Let's see. Real quick. Boop, boop, boop. Real quick, 2 more precepts. Leviticus. Damn, what was it again? Leviticus. Hold on, real quick. Get this right. I always forget this one. Wait, I thought. I know. Yeah. Exodus, not Leviticus. Exodus 22. Exodus 22. Starting at okay, hold on, real quick. Okay, Exodus 22 and 25. If you lend to any of my people who are poor among you, you shall not be like a money lender to him. You shall not charge him interest or in other contexts, usury. What is usury? Lending upon interest. I want to get Leviticus 25 and 30. Let's see, Leviticus 25. Leviticus 25. You know what? We'll just start at verse 23 because it's a good one. Leviticus 25, starting at 23. The land shall not be sold permanently, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. And in all the land of your possession you shall grant redemption of the land. If one of your brethren becomes poor and has sold some of his possession, and if his redeeming relatives come to redeem it, then he may redeem what his brother sold. Or if the man has no one to redeem it, but he himself becomes able to redeem it, then let him count the years since it's safe, and restore the remainder to the man who he sold it, that he may return to his possession. But if he is not able to have it restored to himself, then what is sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it in the year of Jubilee, and in the Jubilee it shall be released and shall return to his possession. Now, I just want to skip a little bit down because this is more so talking about, of course, the year of Jubilee, which is the 50th year. You get the point. But let's see. We'll start right here. So Leviticus 25, starting at verse 35. If one of your brethren becomes poor and falls into poverty among you, you shall help him like a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with you. Take no usury or interest from him, but fear your God, your power, that your brother may live with you. You shall not lend him your money for usury, or lend him your food at a profit. I am the Lord Yahweh, your God, your power, the God of Israel, the power of Israel, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan to be your God. Now, before we get up out of here, let's look at that term usury, right? Just to make sure we have a clear understanding of what that means. Interest. All right, interest, usury, i.e. what? A credit-based system. See that? Interest on a debt. That is what a credit-based system is. All right? That's the society that we're in right now. And we've been in that society for over 100 years. So when people say this is God's country, that is not possible. There are not laws like these. There are God's laws, not just the Mosaic law, but God's laws. They're not even following it nowhere near close. That's why we have credit. Okay? And also that's why we have inflation as well, because they've placed heavy debts on these countries because there's no value in the paper currencies. So, that's that. So I just wanted to go over that just real quick, just kind of a little refresher, since it's been about 2-3 weeks since we've had that. No, 2 weeks, my bad. Since we've had 2 weeks since that discussion about the B system. More breakdowns will be coming more so on TKP's channel, Kingdom Pill, you know what I mean? Breaking more down to the B society and what that looks like and the foundations of it. I just want to do a little refresher today, for y'all. I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate all that's going to watch the playback as well. This live will be a lot shorter. So, you'll be able to watch this. The playback will be much more enjoyable than all the other ones. If you watched all those playbacks, I appreciate it. But real quick, the last preset, we got to get it, because somebody would try to go against what the law says about money and using it. So you know what? Let's just get it. Hold up. Because those prophecies are based off of prophecies against this rulership that we're in right now, is due to a lot of financial, irresponsible and satanic financial decisions that, Esau/Edom, the elite of Esau/Edom, have made against the masses. Anyway, Revelation 22, starting at verse 18. For I testify to everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to these things, the Most High will add to him the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, the Most High shall take away his part from the book of life, from the holy city, and from the things that are written in this book. He who testifies to these things says, surely I am coming quickly. Amen. Even so, Lord Yahushua, grace of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach be with you all. Amen. So how do we usurp these things? How we continue to stay in the faith? Hey, when it comes to this situation out here, how do we properly handle finances and money when it comes to our brothers and things of that nature? How do we do that? Real quick, how do we do that? How do we do that? Share the whole screen. Come on, man. Y'all know already. Hold up. I can put that back up. How do we do that? Come on, man. Y'all see the screen? Y'all see the screen? You got to return to the code so that way you can properly Kahala Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Negad HaKwatazah Mayan HaRashayat, man. You got to follow the commandments that were given in the beginning all the way to the end, man. We got to keep them to the best of our ability. We got to focus on not lending to our people based off of usury to the best of our ability, man. We can't be greedy. The Most High is not greedy, so neither should we. So it's as simple as that. At the end of the day, I got love for all the brothers, man. On all the hopefully elect of Yasharallah. But let's be for real. I'm tired of talking, and I'm pretty sure y'all tired of motherfucking listening. So with that being said, I will see y'all next time. But just to close this out, we're gonna play a little outro music. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of extend the time a little bit, whatever. So, with that being said, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.